Hey everybody, it's Brian Nemhauser, Hawk blogger, and I'm just finishing day one of training camp. Apologies for the moving scene here. I'm walking back to my car, and let's start with really what day one of camp is about from my perspective. Day one of camp is about understanding the depth chart. None of us know enough about any of the players to really say much. They're not wearing pads. They're really just getting going. So by understanding the depth chart, you start to understand what the coaches think of the players. And that's a great indicator of what you can see down the line. I won't be able to look at all my notes. I'll be actually writing those up later today so you can get a complete picture of where I think the depth chart is based on what I saw. Some things of interest today. So, big questions going into this are who's playing center. Right now it was Lem Jean-Pierre getting the snaps with the number one unit most of the time. Drew Nowak was rotating in with the number ones, but he was not quite splitting. I think Lem seemed to be the clear number one there. Some other questions on the offensive line. You've got still Alvin Bailey there at left guard. Behind them was kind of what I'm curious about. And the second string left tackle, as I expected, was Gary Gilliam. And the second string left guard behind Alvin Bailey was Terry Poole. So that was interesting to see. And the second string right guard was Mark Glowinski. The second string right tackle was Jesse Davis. Now, the Jesse Davis thing, I think that's also just I think really probably the third string or the backup right tackle is probably Gary Gilliam. But you can't have him play both positions at once. So Jesse Davis is kind of the fourth tackle, I guess you'd call him. Christian Sicoli was there at like third string center. He had a bit of a tough day. There was a fumbled snap. There was in 1v1 pass rush drills, we saw Sicoli. Basically, there was a point he was going up against Michael Bennett. Pretty sure Michael Bennett touched the quarterback before Sicoli got out of his stance. So, that's a tough matchup for anybody, let alone a rookie defensive lineman who's switching to playing center, but that's what it was. And so that was the line. Defensive line, interesting things there. Same starting line. You got Michael Bennett at the 5 technique. You got Mebane and McDaniel in the middle, and you had Cliff Averill. But then the backups there, backup 5 technique was Greg Scruggs. So he was behind Michael Bennett, and the backup Leo was Cassius Marsh. So I thought that was interesting to see. I think we were seeing Ataba Rubin and DeAnthony Smith at the backup interior lineman. So that was also interesting to see. As far as receivers go, I think it was great to see the first 3 receivers out there were Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, and Tyler Lockett. So they mixed and matched a little bit, but it looked like those were the top 3 receivers. Interesting to see Lockett as number 3 on the depth chart there. And then as the day wore on, you saw situations where the top 4 appeared to be Lockett, Kearse, Baldwin, and then Chris Matthews. So Ricardo Lockett was clearly down in the depth chart, not surprising. And sorry guys, trying to cross the street here. So Ricardo Lockett was definitely down in the depth chart. With him, Kevin Norwood, and Kevin Norwood, Ricardo Lockett, and there was someone third person. Sorry, I'll have to check it out in my notes. But point there was Tyler Lockett's in the top 3. That's the big news. I think Cooper Helfett had a nice day. Anthony McCoy looked good. A guy that stood out for me, kind of moving up depth chart for 1 second, Tyrell Adams. I got to make sure I got his name right. I know it's Adams. I know he's number 53. This is a guy who is a backup linebacker. He is an outside backer and did a really nice job. Broke on the ball pretty well a couple times. Broke up some screen passes. just looked instinctual. So a guy that I'm going to pay attention to. As far as corners go, I think that Kerry Williams got beat a couple times. I'm not going to get too worked up about that, but he's just getting into that spot. He was a starter opposite Richard Sherman. The two starting safeties for your Seattle Seahawks right now are Stephen Terrell at your strong safety and Deshaun Shedd at free safety. So a lot of guys out. I was disappointed to see that Dion Bailey was out today with injury. That was a guy I really wanted to see get some shots and see where he was in the depth chart. We'll have to wait on that. Cam was out. Earl was out. Earl was there standing on the sideline, but he was just watching, and he looked like a caged tiger. He clearly is not used to watching practice and doesn't want to get used to watching practice. So that was good to see. It wasn't good to see, but it was funny to see. Let's see. As far as safeties go, who else? No. So corners. Will Blackman was the starting nickel. He was there as expected. Let's see, who else did I see on corners? Can't remember, so I'm going to switch over. Eric Pinkins was playing Sam linebacker. He was essentially the third string Sam linebacker, and he looked okay. He got beat a couple times in coverage. I want to see that as it evolves a little bit more. Interesting on the linebackers. So I got to tell you guys, I get frustrated because, well, whatever. I'm not going to get into who I get frustrated on, but it has been reported incorrectly. I think that Kevin Pierre-Louis has been playing Sam linebacker. He certainly wasn't today. The way the depth chart worked there was Bruce Irvin, then Mike Morgan, then Eric Pinkins. The will linebacker is KJ Wright at number 1. Number 2 will linebacker is Kevin Pierre-Louis, who I've been saying all along is a guy that should be a will linebacker. He plays better in space. Doesn't make sense for him to be a Sam linebacker in this defense playing on the line like that. Doesn't mean he can't do it, but I don't think you're getting his best. KPL was there. That's what's most important. I wouldn't say there's anything he did that stood out or didn't. The guys that really jumped out for me in this practice, hard not to notice Jimmy Graham. I mean, the guy's huge. He is fit. He is an incredible mismatch on every single play. You just felt like they could throw to him whenever they wanted to, and he got his fair number of chances today and took advantage of them. Who else did I mention? Adams. I think running back wise, I'm in the bag for Christian Michael. I mean, that guy still just is a different type of athlete out there, and when he moves like no other player they've got. Thomas Rawls had a nice practice. Looks like a good player. Nothing down on Thomas Rawls at all. I just don't think he's the player, the athlete that Christian Michael is. And Christian Michael was number 2 on the running back depth chart. Robert Turbin was in today. He did some of practice, individual drills, but he did not do scrimmage or anything where they're playing against other folks. So, the message there is his hip is still something they're going to watch. The big news there is that with Turbin being on the field, he's not eligible for PUP. So anyone that thought there was a chance that he was going to be on PUP, that might open up a roster spot. Not the case. I'm getting in my car now. So look for Turbin to probably stay off the field for a little while. That'll give extra reps to these other running backs. We'll see what they're capable of. And I thought Thomas Rawls looked fine. I thought Cooper Helfett had a nice day. And there's a couple nice deep throws to Chris Matthews and to Jermaine Kearse. And most of them they didn't come down with, but went after it, which was good. And Russell looked fine out there. It looked like Russell. Blocking-wise, my general impression was the offense was a little ahead of the defense, and that's usually not the way it works in camp. Early in camp, it's usually the defense that's ahead of the offense. hard to say, again, without pads, with all that stuff. I see a question here about McNeil. I thought McNeil looked fine today. He had one drop. He just looks like a great, like a thoroughbred receiver. So I'm really interested to see him play more and get a little bit more time watching him. But, you can see why they're intrigued by him. He's got a great body for a wide receiver and looks pretty sudden and explosive. Let's see. Other questions you guys can ask me. I'm now in the car and I can look. Yeah, so special teams is a good question. So Tyler Lockett actually looked fine in special teams. I think that some of the interesting things there was watching Frank Clark participate and learn about special teams, and watching Cassius Marsh really talk him through it. It looked like maybe they're roommates during camp, but Cassius was talking to him a lot and walking him through things. So good to see Clark getting reps in there. Clark looks strong. They're moving him around different spots. I'll be curious. I really want to see Clark when they get to padded practices, how he stands out. He's getting some snaps at 5 technique. I will say, so Eric Pinkins only practiced the linebackers. I noticed that Bruce Irvin, got some time with the defensive line. He was rushing the passer a lot today. And I think the last note I'll leave you with for right now is, Justin Britt, well, maybe it won't be the last note, but Justin Britt, still getting beat like a drum from Cliff Averill in 1v1 pass rush drills. So that wasn't pretty to watch. Pinkins, as the question comes in, Pinkins has been playing Sam. At least that's where he's been lined up in practice. And Michael Bennett was at practice. I saw there was a question about that too. Any other questions you guys have before I turn on the car and get some AC rolling in here? Who is getting beat on the line? Well, Jesse Davis as tackle did not look too great as a pass protector, which probably means Tom Cable's going to love him. Jimmy Graham, for those that didn't come on earlier, was fantastic. Stood out as I expect him to and played great. And on that note, I think I'm going to turn on the car because I'm starting to sweat. So for folks asking about center, all those things were covered earlier in the podcast or in the scope. So I'm going to post this. You can watch the replay and get answers to all those questions. Thanks, everybody. And I will be there tomorrow and Sunday. Maybe I'll see some of you then. Bye.